Welcome to Stuck in My Mind podcast, the show where we dive into the mind of a regular guy on his road to self-discovery. You'll hear everyday people just like you share the latest topics, personal stories, and things they've learned along the way. And now, please welcome your host, WIZE.
And welcome to another episode. I am your host, WIZE, and I have a very special guest. She's a mom, she's an entrepreneur, and she is an amazing podcaster. She has a great show. Welcome to the show, Lisa Zawrotny. I was going to mess it up, wasn't I?
It's all good, WIZE. We were just talking about that. And whatever you want to call me, I am delighted to be here.
Oh, no, it's a pleasure to have you on my show. I wanted you a guest as a guest on my show because I saw a comment you left to someone on one of the Facebook groups, and I thought it was amazing. I just thought what you told that person was just the God honest truth. And I felt it was just great. I thought it was just something amazing. So I was like, let me invite her. I like people like that on my show. So I sent you the message, and he was like, oh yeah, let me check it out. And here you are. Thank you for coming on.
Well, thank you for inviting me. I don't know what I said, but I'm so glad I did because that's how, good people connect with good people. And I love it.
No, it was, I can't even remember them, but it was just, I was like, whatever you said to that person, I was like, I guess they had started a podcast, and you just told them, like everybody else was like, oh, go this way. And you just told them something, and it just, to me, it was like, that's what I would have told them. So yeah, that sounds great. But no, it was good, man. So I was like, let me just reach out to her. And then I seen you as a podcaster, which is Positively Living.
Mm-hmm.
I listened to a few episodes. I love it. It's great.
Thank you.
So, okay, just tell the listeners a little something about yourself and the viewers now, because I keep forgetting I am now a video podcast. Like before, I would not record the video. I would just do audio and no video. But now I'm doing video. So I got to remember that I am doing video.
Yeah, you see my funny faces. Now, this is great. I love it because we can see each other. And then, and all of us talking here, right? We can see each other. So this is great. Hi, everyone. I'm Lisa Zawrotny, and I am a wife and a mom of 2 kids and 2 cats. Those cats are important. And an entrepreneur, just like WIZE said. And also, I used to be, and technically still am in some respects, a caregiver. And that's actually a big part of how I got to be where I am today, why I'm the coach that I am today, and then began my podcast was it all started back when I was a caregiver for my mom, and she had Alzheimer's, and I was actually pregnant with both my children at the time. So I had 2 pregnancies, 2 kiddos, a mom with Alzheimer's, and I was in survival mode. And boy, you want to talk about heaps and heaps of life lessons that just jump right on you and show you what's important. Oh my goodness. That was it in just a huge, huge way. And when I stepped out of that into what would be next in my life, I took those life lessons with me, took them to heart, and decided I wanted to share them with the world.
That's amazing. It's actually kind of it's my sister. Like my mom is suffering from Alzheimer's, and she lives with my sister right now all the time, and I know it's hard on my sister. It's really hard on her, being that this is the woman that raised us, and to see her in the state that she is in now, and then she just doesn't let my sister breathe. She's like always wants to be on top of my sister, and my sister gets it, but sometimes it can be rough on her.
For sure. Well, my heart goes out to her, and it goes out to all of you because, as you just said, there's something about when we have, our parents, the people who were our security, our leaders, right? Those who were helping us grow and supporting us, and now, the tables have turned. It's a huge shift emotionally and physically too. I mean, it takes a lot out of you.
Yeah, it definitely does. And so when she told me she wanted some machine so she can start doing t-shirts and mugs and just crafts and stuff. She's like, I just want you to chip in and get this machine for me. Just chip in with everybody. And me, I just felt like, what? How much is the machine? She told me the price, and I just went and bought it for her because she deserves it. She works. She does so much for my mom, and me and my brothers can do more. We should do more. So, and I'm not gonna deny, but we can actually do more to help her. But it's we can. I imagine it's we talk all the time. I talk to her about basically every day, and it just the fact that I she can vent to me and talk to me and let me know what it helps somewhat. But I honestly know that me and my brothers need to step up and help more.
Well, I think this is a great start in just showing your appreciation. So I hope she listens to this, and I hope she knows how much we both appreciate what she's doing. And yeah, it's a lot to be done, and it's a beautiful thing she's doing, but it takes a lot. And the idea that you can support her in different ways by giving her things that will light her up and energize her. I mean, that's a huge part of what I talk about all the time as a coach now. And I think that came from my own life lessons, right? Of saying, okay, this is taking a lot out of me. I can't just keep going like this. Something's got to give, and it can't be me. So, how do we find that balance? People ask me all the time, what are your regrets? And okay, fine. I sometimes think I could have been a little nicer to my mom, but when you're really weary, your patience is like nada. So, although that's the case, I would say the one key thing that I would change if I could go back would actually be taking better care of me.
Yeah, yeah. You tend to let yourself go in a situation like that. You focus on that person and you tend to neglect on yourself.
Yeah.
And I can imagine how because it's hard. Like just the conversations that I have with my sister, and she tells me the things that go on with my mother. Like I could me not being there. I can't feel the full brunt of it, but I can. I just it just hurts to hear the things that she say. Like one day she sent me a message and it was her talking to my mom, and my mom couldn't remember my wife's name. She couldn't even remember that I was married.
Mm.
And it kind of like, and my wife, when my wife heard it, it kind of made her sad, and everything. So it was just those moments that it really hits you that life is very precious, and we just have to cherish every moment that we have with her. Because for the most part, she still remembers she sees our face, she still knows. It's just short-term memory, and just certain times she just doesn't remember things.
Yeah, that's right. The long-term memory will be there to some extent, and sometimes it's almost like having a shadow of a memory. Like you said, she may not be able to say the name, or it may not come to her immediately what's going on, but if she sees your faces, she'll know that you're people that she loves and that she trusts. And yeah, all you can do is cherish each of those moments and just focus on the love part of it.
Yeah, last year I took a month off of work, and we went to Puerto Rico because she that's where she's originally from. We have a house over there, and we did some work on the house and had her there, and there she moves around. She'll walk outside, go get some air, but we got to watch her because she's 80. She'll be 83 years old. She really can't. There's just certain amount of things she can do, and it energizes her when she goes over there. So we try to get her over there a couple of, well, at least 3 or 4 times a year, so that she can just enjoy her island and get some. I guess give my sister a break. Well, she doesn't, but she still is. It's I don't know. It's a different her when she's over there.
Yeah, it's a change of pace, and that's a good lesson for all of us, right? Kind of giving ourselves a chance to be in a different environment, and you just experience life a little bit differently that way. Even if it's the same life you're living, you just live it a little differently.
Yeah. All right. So positive living. So How long have you been doing this podcast? I just started. I just been doing this for over a year. So,
Congrats. Yeah, I'm actually in a pretty similar time frame. I started June of 2020.
and I started April of 20,
Well,
but
congrats. That's awesome.
I didn't really start going like hard until probably July or August. That's when I started really releasing more consistently.
Mhm.
Because when I first started, it was like a month and a half before and my first episode was like 5 minutes long. It wasn't even that long, and it took me a little bit, took me about a month or so to release the next episode. But then I realized the more I released, the more people would download, more people would start listening in. So I started like it got to a point where I was probably releasing 2-3 episodes a week.
That's amazing. I started actually with a once a week plan, and it's very consistent. Considering a productivity and organizing coach, it fits, right? It's on brand for me to be like, okay, I'm doing it once a week, and I'm going to be consistent. And I've been doing it. I'm up to 77 episodes now, and I look back and I'm like, how did that happen? But I'm like, well, then I'm just walking my own talk. That's habits for you. You take a step, you take another step, and you keep going. You stay consistent and you go with it. And that was probably part of the advice that I wrote on the group that we're in. I don't know what I said, but that was probably part of it. And the other part was probably be very clear about what you want to achieve with your podcast, because when you know what you want to do, what the purpose of it is, then all the other answers will fall into place.
It was funny because when I first started, I didn't. It was me just. I ranted a couple of times about work and all the nonsense that was going on with the pandemic and all the racial nonsense that was going on.
Hmm.
And I just didn't enjoy it. I didn't have fun. I enjoyed podcasting, but I didn't enjoy those topics. Those weren't the topics I wanted to discuss. It wasn't until I started sitting down with people and sharing stories, and they're sharing their stories, and I'm sharing whatever stories I have to share. And that's when it really started. Okay, I like this. This is something
Yeah.
I can really do. Being able to sit down and talk to people and have them come on. And I've had coaches, actors, some friends from high school that are doing well. One who had gastric sleeve surgery, and I had her come on and tell her story and how she had to change her life, and all these things. It just that felt right to me. That's
Mm.
where it was like, these are the shows that I want. I want positive content. I want people to come and tell their story, how so that my listeners can listen and be like, okay, all right, they're regular people like me.
Yeah.
We can do these things. These are some amazing things and I've had some amazing guests on. And to sit down with them and realize that they're just like you and me. That you would think like, what? Really? Like, who would have thought me and you would have prior to podcasting? I don't think me and you would have ever spoken had we seen each other in the street. Who knows? Maybe not. But because of podcasting and the energy that we're putting out, that we want to come in contact with like-minded people and being able to have these conversations is the energy that I know I'm putting out there,
Yeah.
and that's what I'm receiving. So to be able to have those connections and have these conversations, to be able to let other people listen in and realize that everyone, no matter what walk of life you come from, there's something you might have in common with someone that you don't know.
Absolutely. And we all have so many challenges, and there's so much that happens in our lives, and we don't necessarily, like you said, share that on the street. Yeah, I mean, although I'm one to chat with people in the grocery store. My husband thinks it's hysterical that I can come out of a convenience store and be like, so he was having issues with his mom, but they've reconciled. And he's like, what? I'm like, didn't you just go in for a soda? And I'm like, well, yeah, but it's sort of fitting for me. But But it is so true. There is magic in conversations. And I knew when I started my podcast that I wanted to share my, I would say, slightly different, more holistic approach to productivity and organizing, that it's a little different. It's about doing less, right? And living more, not doing more. I just want to bust the whole hustle culture wide open, tell everyone to take a deep breath and that it's going to be okay. And the minute I got in, other guests and we started having these conversations, it's magic happens.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it does. It is.
Yeah.
Like we like prior to this, we've shot a couple of messages to each other, and we didn't really communicate. We didn't, and that's how I really enjoy. Like there's people who said that. I'm sure because you're like your organization coach, so I'm sure you have a little structure to your show. Yes, I have a little structure. I'll send the invite. I'll send the link for you to schedule it, but for the most part, my show is not scripted. I'm not. I just want us to come on, have a natural conversation, and things just happen. That who knew that you had a similar story to what my sister was experiencing. We didn't know anything about that prior to the show, so things just are meant to be.
Yeah, absolutely. I do want to say for the record that even though everyone fully expects me to be so structured, I'm not rigid about it. And it's because of what you just said. So, what I like to do is work in what are called frameworks. So, I have a start and an end to the show. I have a certain expectation and I have a certain intention that I set for each episode. But that's because I'm coming from a teaching standpoint that is all my own. So I want to talk about a certain topic and share it with everyone. And I have certain things I want to guide my listeners to so that they can take really super simple steps. But that magic that happens, you just never know where that conversation is going to go. That stuff in the middle,
Yeah.
that stuff, I'm just like, let's see what happens. So that part is definitely not scripted, not at all. It's just
No,
more like a structure around it.
yeah, it's like honestly I'm so backed up on episodes. I've I'm still releasing episodes I recorded in end of May, beginning of June. I'm so backed up on episodes, and now that I'm doing video, I'm releasing the video episodes first, and then
Mhm.
I'll release the audio, but I still have to get that backlog of audio out and just get them out. So my intentions are to to just edit I probably might not even edit them, just create the thumbnail, put it in the descriptions, and just start uploading the episodes and just start scheduling one every other day or something like that. I don't know, but I have to really get caught back. I have to really get caught up and kind of have my videos kind of match up with my audio. Not
It's a lot. It's funny how, podcasting is such a, I call it a puzzle, right? You're constantly, like, trying to figure out where things fit, and then it's easy to get, like, a backlog and then, then try to get caught up, and it takes definitely some structure, but also too, if you're changing things up, that it makes total sense that you're like, "Okay, I gotta change also how I'm approaching this." Like, you're going to video, and you're right, that is the fresh, new kind of approach that you're having, so it makes sense that you wanna make those current, and now you have to figure out what to do with the backlog. Maybe you could release a few at a time, especially if they have, like, common traits or something, something
Yeah,
in common,
I didn't think
right?
about that. Yeah,
Like almost like a bundle surrounding a certain
oh
kind
yeah,
of topic or certain types of people or something like that.
yeah, that is true. I can, yeah. Like a certain week, a certain weekend could be if they're coaches,
Ooh,
just
yeah.
like a week of coaches, and or if they're entertainers, a week of entertainers.
Mhm.
Oh, I didn't think about that. Ah, good idea. Good idea. See, this is why I love having these conversations.
How my brain works, this is what I do.
No, that's a good idea. I like that idea. Definitely.
And then it helps the listeners too, because or at least I know that I'm always looking for patterns or for things where I'm like, yeah, one time I might like to be like, "Ooh, let's listen to the coaches," because I love hearing what coaches have to say. I'm a coach, but coaches need coaches. Everyone needs coaches. You know what I mean? And then another time it might be like, I'm looking to be entertained. What's like, let's find a group of the funny stories or whatever. You know what I mean? And you kind of look for that. And then if you've released them in a bundle, then you've just made it easier for the
Yeah,
listener to find those.
you're absolutely right. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. That's what. Oh man, that you just made it easier. Like next week, it could, because I have episodes that I have podcasters on
Mhm.
that that's their thing. So it might be a week of podcasters, and then I have a lot of coaches on. I have a lot of coaches, but that's where my podcast go. That's where my podcast goes to, is having a lot of coaches and a lot of entrepreneurs on, because that's just where my mindset is at. That's where I'm trying to develop and grow in.
Mhm.
So this is me wanting to learn and grow as well. So
Exactly. We all have things that we can learn, and that's where that's what's appealed to you right now. So that makes sense. But yeah, I love that idea. I'll be ready as soon as you post whatever your theme is in the group. I'll be ready to download and listen.
no, I have. It's been great. I've had some great like I said, I released my YouTube episodes, and just the conversations that I've had with some people. Some of them, they like I said, it's been a lot of coaches,
Mm.
but and they're all different, but the message is the same, kind of similar, but they all have different styles. It's not like they're all the same style. They all have their own methods, their own styles, and it's just amazing to just be able to see that you can get the same message delivered in so many different ways.
That's a really encouraging point for entrepreneurs, by the way, I think, because honestly, how many productivity coaches that are out there? A ton, right? But nobody delivers the message like I do. No one comes up, innovates in the way that I do, especially specific to a person, because that's what I'm all about. I'm like, what's your personality? What are your values? We talk about all that stuff way before we get into, okay, what planner are you using? Are you going to put this on a calendar? What's your system? That comes later. You have to know who you are and what you're trying to accomplish first. So that's what I do differently. And yeah, you can see it all the time when you look to any expert out there and you can hear the same message over and over again. And then that one person says it and you're like, oh, and the light bulb goes off. And
Yeah.
it's just, yeah, so I say take encouragement by that. I love that there's tons of podcasters and tons of coaches, yeah, but we all have our own style,
Yeah.
so stay
And, and,
authentic to you.
and that's what I love. And that's what I try to do. I just try to be my authentic self when I'm on my podcast. I don't try to
Amen.
be anyone. I try to be me, just
Yeah.
having a good time, speaking to people, and it's just like I said, just being able to sit down with some of these coaches and hear their messages. It's like, okay, and it's like when you read a book. Not everything in a book is going to resonate with you.
Mhm.
There might be certain thing in the book, so you would take that chapter of that book and apply it to yourself. Well, not everything the coaches say, I might not. I'm like, that don't fit me. But then there just be that one nugget that they do say, and you're like, oh, I like that. I think I'm gonna use that. I think I'm gonna apply that, and that's what it is. That's what it really is. Because not everything is meant for you.
Amen to that.
It isn't. It's so funny because everything isn't meant for you. You're not meant to receive every message.
Love it.
Okay, but see, all right. So I've started my coaching journey,
Mhm.
and it's something I've wanted to do for years, but me doing the podcast has made me more comfortable with the idea that this is something I want to do. So yes, I've signed up. I've started my coaching journey, and I'm excited. That
It's
was one of the
amazing.
goals. That was one of my goals for the year that I have in front of me on one of my board is like I want to become a certified coach. I want to, and I've started my path, and I'm just excited because this is so many different things have come from me starting my podcast and me stepping out of my comfort zone and doing something that I've been making up excuses not to do.
Yeah. You took action, and that's there you go. There's another great life lesson in there. Taking action, specifically taking imperfect action, trying it, doing it. I have a reel on my Instagram account. I have so much fun on Instagram. I play a lot there, and one of them it's a sound bite about like do the thing, and it's like I can't, I don't want to mess it up. Just do it, and it makes the point. It's like just try it because it's not about failing. It's my favorite saying is it's a win or a learn, right?
Yeah,
That's what it is.
yeah, definitely. I need to really start using Instagram. I've actually started building it up somewhat, but I really want to start doing more light, just entertaining things, just more some things to make people laugh, something.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I'm working on that. I'm actually podcasting has done so much for me as far as me creating content. It's gotten me into wanting to learn more about video, and I've learned a lot about the audio, my mic, my mixer, my every these are things that I'm not this isn't my profession. I'm not in the music industry. I'm a table games dealer in a casino. And I just found out that I have a voice. I found out this is something I want to do. This is where I want to be at, behind this mic, behind this camera,
Hmm.
doing what I'm doing. And it's I I'm still amazed at the people I have spoken to, and the people that I'm going to speak to. It's like I've 2 years ago I wouldn't have thought this would have been possible. Just all the things that are happening in my life because I was able to step out and be uncomfortable. Stop being programmed. Stop accepting what they said I had to accept.
And being you, that authenticity that you were talking about, I mean, it is so key. Part of my journey, I didn't step out of caregiving, and then today I'm this coach that you see with this podcast, right? I started as a professional organizer, actually, because I knew that simplifying life, right? Clearing a path, decluttering, this was so important because we overcomplicate things, we tack on things, we have, like you said, this expectation that other people think say we're supposed to do, right? The things that we're supposed to do, the shoulds, all of that. And I knew right away that it wasn't just let's clean out a closet or the clutter on the floor. It was like the clutter that we have in our heads and our hearts. And I knew there was something to that. And while everyone else even in the industry that I was in, it was so exciting to be in this industry. And then I was like, okay, but I'm not like the other professional organizers. There's something different going on here. So I moved into what I call productivity coaching, but it was something slightly different. Then it was life coaching. I got my certification in that. And then I'm like, no, it's the stress. I got my stress management certification, and I kept going. It's you evolve, you explore, you converse, you collaborate like we're doing, and you learn what's possible. Coaches say this all the time. You don't know what you don't know. And it is so true. You don't know what's possible until you get out there and explore. And that's what you're doing.
Yeah, and I've had that board up for probably 5 months now, 6 months probably, and I see it every day. It's like become certified coach, and I'm like, okay, all right, and now, like I said, I have a production company which we started last year. We actually we're releasing a book that my nephew wrote. We're publishing it. We're getting it out sometime in November.
Mhm.
Um, I've I've been hired to help this coach start her own podcast, and because everything, it's like everything we've learned here. Me personally, I'm a YouTube junkie right now, because I need, if I want to learn something, I'll go to YouTube and discover, okay, this is what I need. All right, this is, and that's what I've done. I'm self-taught. A lot of the equipment that I get,
Mhm.
the audio, the programs that I use to edit my podcast. Now I'm trying to see what video editing software I'm gonna get. But it's me doing my research. It's me spending hours or taking a course if I have to, because in order for me to improve, I have to learn. I have to pay someone that's a professional, because I'm not. And it's okay to invest in myself and improve on what I'm trying to do. That's just adding value to myself.
Exactly. The key word right there is invest. You're investing in yourself. And, I have clients all the time who are like, okay, I think I know what I need to do. Why am I not doing it? And that's what we dig into. And in 30 minutes or, 90 minutes or whatever session they're doing, it's like, oh, and then it provides that clarity, that aha, it fast forwards. You do need to invest in yourself. And you know what else? You are showing yourself, the world, that you are worthy of that investment and that you're serious about what you want to do. And when I say serious, I mean, God knows I'm joking all the time, but
No, no,
I'm as goofy as they come. You got to have fun doing this. But I mean that it matters to you. You're
no, no.
showing that it matters.
No, you're absolutely right. Because my wife, she goes, I know you're serious about this because you have neglected your PlayStation 4. It's just sitting over there collecting dust. And I says, no, baby, you're absolutely right. I'm like, I have no time to play PlayStation. I'm podcasting and growing a business and doing something I love to do.
Mhm.
Oh, I love playing games, but the video games weren't making me happy.
Yeah, they were a distraction, and this
Yes,
is this is a creation.
yes, absolutely, definitely. This is so much more fun.
So true.
No, it is, because I would have never known. I would have been. I was. I've always been more of an athlete. I've always played more sports than say do arts and craft and all that stuff.
Mhm.
I didn't know I was able to do things like that. I didn't know I was able to create a logo and help somebody design a logo for somebody's business. That's not. But I did it. I I'm, I'm like, wow. Who knew I could help build a website? But I did it. It's not. I'm not. It's not something I went to school for. I'm not a graphic designer. I'm not a website builder. But I did it. I built the website. So there's things that people say, "Oh, you can't do," but if you really set your mind to do, there's so much more you can do than that.
I think it all comes back to your why. And that's said a lot. Coaches love to say that. So, what really is that? To me, it's your intention, your purpose. It's the thing that drives you. It's the thing that gets you out of bed in the morning. It's the thing that feeds and nourishes you, your spirit, and your values, and really what matters to you. And when you know what that is, that's when you can eschew the PlayStation and choose something else. It's when you can try all these different things and be like, "Can I do this? I can. Well, I can if I want. Let me try this." And you can be selective and intentional about what you're doing, and you can challenge yourself.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Again, like I said, I'm amazed at the things that I'm doing lately, and it's because I have so much faith and confidence in myself, and that's what it is. It's confidence. It's me having confidence in what I'm doing, and me truly believing in what I'm doing, and being able to be like, you know what? Why not me? Why can I not do it? Oh no, it's not. It's possible. It is possible, and I just keep pushing the limits. I just keep trying. If I find something like, okay, I need to learn how to do this, then I'm gonna research it and go out and learn.
I think the believing comes first, or I think that's a great place to start. And that kind of goes back to the idea of the why. And then you take the action, you take the imperfect action, you try, you take steps that then will build your confidence, because every time you do something that's a win, every time you're like, oh, well, I did that. They said it couldn't be done. No, wait, I think that was me that said that. But it could be. I did it, like, and you have those wins, and then that builds your confidence. You're like, yeah, I can do that. Because I can remember all those the first time I stepped into productivity coaching where I wasn't touching people's stuff. That sounds so funny, but when you're a professional organizer, part of who you are and your identity is walking into someone's home and moving their things around. And this time I was like, I'm not touching stuff. I'm actually, we're moving things around in your brain. I'm organizing your thoughts and your to-dos and your ideas, and it was nerve-wracking at first for me. I'm like, can I do this? But the first time I did it, it was like, oh, I'm at home. This is what I do. This is how I think and how I can help people. I take all the jumbled ideas, and we make sense of it, and we calm the storm, and we kind of, create sort of the categories and the things that can help you make sense and take those simple steps. Like before, when we were talking about doing the themes maybe for the week, and doing a bundle,
Yeah.
and you said, oh, that'd be nice and simple, you know what I mean? That'd be easy. And I'm like, yes, I mean, that's what I live for. But I can remember the first time I did that, and someone took a chance on me to say, okay, yeah, I don't have stuff to organize, but I have like all my ideas for my business, and all my to-dos. Can you help me with that? And I was like, yes. And I did it, and yeah, it's scary, it's exciting, it's nerve-wracking, it's all the things, but stepped into it, and man, I never looked back.
Oh no, it's funny because the I got my first big client recently, the one that I'm helping launch a podcast and everything, and when we sat down, and she's a coach,
Mhm.
she's also she's a transitional coach, and it was just funny because when we spoke, and she's like, how long you been doing this? I said, listen, I've just been doing this for less than a year. And she goes, prior to you, I was dealing with some guy at a radio station who's been doing it for so many years. And she says, and we can get it going.
Mm.
Talking to you and seeing how you are passionate about it, and she's like, you seem like you've been doing this for years. Like she says, from your professionalism to you knowing your stuff, knowing what equipment to get, knowing, she's like, you would think you've been doing this for years. I'm like, no. I said, you're my first client. And she's like, I said, yeah.
Yeah, but the time that you invested, the money that you've invested, all of it, and the intention that you set, and the effort that you put into it creates the quality. I mean, and it's right there. And the other thing I love to share, especially with my newbie entrepreneur clients, is that you don't need to be, far ahead, or years into what you're doing in order to help someone else. You only need to be a step or two ahead to reach out your hand and say, here, I can help you. I can show you the way, and I can walk by your side and help you along with this. And sometimes being relatively new at it means that you still have the proper perspective and an understanding and even an empathy as to the challenges they're facing. When you've been doing it for a while, or you have a larger team, or you're in a different zone or a different phase, sometimes you can forget what it's like when you started out. So there's a really wonderful perspective, I think, to have when you're relatively new, and yet you've amassed so much experience and confidence. I think it's a wonderful combination.
Yeah, yeah. So when you were talking about your why and everything,
Mm.
and one that everyone always uses is their family, and my why is my family. But then but just here sitting here and listening to you and thinking, and I'm like, I love my family. Yes, they're special, but my why is me wanting, me finding my purpose and putting it out there and doing it. That's my why.
Mm.
It's me finding my purpose and sharing it with the people and sharing it with anyone. And I don't know if it sounds funny or it just sounds crazy, but it's just something that just sitting here talking to you just like made me realize my why is to share, is to share with everyone, to be able to give something back to the people.
Yeah. And the thing about that, okay, when we say what's your why or what's your purpose, I mean, there's definitely some semantics involved. The key
Yeah.
point is to find something to anchor to that will hold you through when things don't go right and when you're tired and when you're
Yeah.
like, I got to get up and do this again. It's the thing that's helping you drive through. But when you say your why, you can keep asking that question to drill down. You've just narrowed it down to something about sharing, and it makes so much sense, right? That you're stepping into coaching, that you're a podcaster. It's the same thing for me. I want to share. What do I want to share and why? And so if you keep asking the question to yourself, but why,
Yeah.
or even so you'll keep drilling down, and you'll be like, oh, because this is what I believe, because I know I figured out how to solve this problem, and I can help others because it matters, because I don't want them to go through what I went through. And I'm kind of giving you examples of like what mine is,
Yeah, that's it. But
like
it's
right, that's
those are mine. That's what
yeah,
I'm saying.
right, yeah,
Those are so much mines because there's things like there's steps in this podcasting that had I known prior, I could have avoided some pitfalls.
yeah.
So me being able to share that knowledge with people and make sure that they avoid them and help them in a way is kind of, yeah, it's like a no brainer to me.
Yeah, it's the same thing with me simplifying business, helping people understand complex is not necessarily more is not necessarily better, right? Complex is not necessarily better, and that we can do things really simply, and it can still not only be as effective but sometimes more effective. And I know this because I lived a life where I was in survival mode, and I took on too much, and I thought I needed to do that, all those shoulds. And I'm like, no, I don't want that for others. And if I can help them get in before some heavy life trauma happens, they'll be set up so much better than I ever was. They won't have to go through it in the same way that I did.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Lisa, this has been great. I've loved this so much. This is I said this is why I love podcasting. This is why I love doing my podcast. Is this conversation. But now is the time for you to just plug away and let everybody know all your social media, everything.
Awesome. Okay, well, you can always go to positivelyproductive.com to connect in all sorts of ways, but of course, I would love if you would listen to the Positively Living podcast. You can find on any platform you can think of where you listen to podcasts, you can find it there. And I can be found on Facebook, Positively Productive, and on Twitter, positively_Lisa, but most importantly, on Instagram. We have so much fun. Come play with me there. Positively_Lisa. Like Wise said, I mean, we need to have fun, and that's what it's all about there on my platform on Instagram. We joke and we laugh, but we also learn, and we have gratitude for life, and I'm an utter goofball in the process.
But don't leave just yet. I'm gonna just give my quick shout outs and then me and you talk off camera. All right. So big shout outs to my real WIZE fam. Poppy J, Brandy J. You guys are awesome. Love you guys. Big shout out to the boss lady, Fina. Love you, baby. Appreciate you. And as always, a big, big shout out to all the essential workers out there. God bless you. Be safe. And you know how your boy WIZE does it. Peace out.
Thanks for listening. Listen on iTunes, Podbean, Spotify, and TuneIn. Find us on social media on Twitter at WIZE_B_blunt, Instagram at WIZE_B_blunt, and a Facebook fan page, www.facebook.com/WIZE76. Check back soon for new episodes. Until next time, peace out.